to go live on my end.
Okay.
All right, we're now live.
Hello and welcome to
You
the
might want to go
Tuesday.
full screen. There we go.
As the director, I'm being redirected on this very special interview. But we have my good buddy here, Anthony Gethers, and we're here to talk about a passion project that he's got going on, which is extremely interesting. And, you know, like on our show, we like to do innovative things in music, innovative things in the Hudson Valley. And we really like to talk about, especially since I'm in that class of people, people doing music and sort of extraordinary things after 50. As Anthony says, you know, your second act. You know, because, you know, there's more to us than we're not growing old gracefully. So we're into the 60s and 70s, kicking and screaming and playing loud music. And this is part of that because here with me today is Father Groove, Anthony Gethers, our good buddy, who you've heard on this radio station many times, and his good friend, brother Adam. Is it Adam Riff? No, your name is Brother Riff.
Yes, brother.
And so, how are you? Wait a minute, do I have you? Yeah, you're back. How are you guys doing today? You're on the road, headed back to your house.
Yep.
How are you guys doing today? Before we get into the topic of today's interview,
I'd say I'm doing pretty cool. I'm actually very excited about our fundraiser. I got Brother Riff, Adam Bronner, who's my partner. Adam was the one who actually coined me the name. Actually, Adam was the one who officially gave the official name, and Tommy Sims, who co-wrote Change the World, kind of blessed it. So yeah, I think that the combination is awesome.
And Adam,
Doing well. Long day at work. Another long day tomorrow, but something like this is always fun to do. So I'm good.
Well, you know, I think I don't know about you guys, but for me, like music is just a very energizing aspect of my week. You know, I do it for the love of the music. So whether it's a big gig or a small gig, but especially if it's a big gig or something important, there's something about it that just adds the extra adrenaline onto the day that, you know, just all your sort of mundane activities kind of fade away and you just fade into the music scene and you're just, you know, you're like, I feel reborn.
Sure.
I like that, reborn. That's a good word. That's a good phrase. Good word.
Yeah.
I think it's accurate, especially a local musician.
Mm-hmm.
There's nothing that gives more satisfaction, you know, than playing before an appreciative audience where where you're in sync. You know, you can tell that, you know, you're in the pocket, they're with you, and they're there to have a good time, and you're there to give them a good time. And that intersection of activity is just fantastic. And I think that's why, you know, you see many music artists just, you know, keep going on forever. You're like, you know, you're 60, you're 70 years old, you're 80s. Why don't you retire? Why are you still doing it? But I think it's for that adrenaline rush and the love that you can only get from a crowd.
I would agree with
it's
that.
like a shot of B12. It's just like a natural shot of B12. You just, you know, when you're playing, there's especially like when you're running on all cylinders and the music's flowing and you know the communication, the nonverbal communication amongst the other musicians is really nothing like it. It's like a high unlike any other.
I agree.
And the bass and drums, as a drummer, you know, we are in such synchronicity. And, you know, and I love it when, you know, when you're playing and it's so tight, like we don't have to look at each other. We can just feel it.
Yeah.
We just feel where it goes and where it needs to go. And, you know, you look at each other just when you want to, or to do something silly or something to kind of, you know, keep the things going. But just, it's a fun thing because we're just naturally in sync. And, you know, and a lot of times, I'll be looking at communicating with my bass player, but it's usually because of something else like that the guitar player did that was ridiculous. We said don't do it, and then they did it. And then we said, so it's, you know, or something that the singer did, you know, happy in the moment, and then with that extra beat, like, what are you doing? So there's a camaraderie that happens that I think is very distinct between bass and drums on
Oh,
stage.
yeah.
It's really the whole rhythm section.
Yes,
Yep.
yes, yes. But I also find for our project, since we have multi bass players, because if you think about it,
Right.
most gigs
How does
usually
that go? That's what I was get to. You have a very unique band in your band, and I think you may be the first that I know of to have multiple bass players. So how did that come about, and how does that work?
well, I won't say we're the first. You got to remember, Stanley, Marcus, Victor had their SMV.
Yeah.
Okay, all right. Forgot about that one.
I would say that, and how it came together, is because I kept getting thrown out of bands for dancing too much. So instead of getting another guitar player, someone from another band said to me, "Why don't you get another bass player and just do your own thing and make the bass player more melodic, as opposed to having a guitar player that usually handles the melody and then the bass player handles the bottom." I was reaching out to a bunch of different people, and I circled back to Adam because Adam was the one who gave me the name, and I was like, "Wait, he has I like his style of playing." Adam does a lot of tapping, and for me, I do a lot of slapping, and I thought that together the combination would work out really well. And we can go back and forth on either one of the parts, but that's, to me, is what made it work. And once I found that combination where we actually got together and jammed, I loved how it felt, and I was like, you know something, this feels good. I get guitar players getting pissed at me and going, "How come you don't bring another guitar player around?" I go, "I'm having fun with the bass players." You know,
Strings are too skinny.
Exactly. Yeah.
But like for me too, though, what I love about it is I don't have to jump around. I'm more of a stationary, like rocking out in one spot. He does movement for everybody, so I'm good with that. I can stand back and just play, and he can jump around and do his thing, which is great.
Absolutely. And that makes you feel really good about the project that we're working with.
But then you even go
fun.
beyond that, because it's not just two bass players, right? And some parts of your project you have 3 or maybe even 4.
Yes.
Sometimes we'll have 3.
So far, 3 is the most we've done. Yeah. So far, yes. 3 has been the most, but we'll, you never know what's going to happen. But, you also got to look at the fact we did the all bass cover of Horse with No Name, and it's just he and I, but there's probably 6 to 9 different bass tracks. On there, just all kind of flowing, and So
is your point, how much bass is too much bass?
That's
I don't know.
Not a thing that even exists.
You can't ask a bass player that.
I don't recognize the words that you were saying. What was that again?
How much bass is too much bass? It's like asking a guitar player how much distortion is too much. Look, at the end of the day, we have to find a way to make it so that it's solid. It doesn't become noisy per se. The goal is to make music so that people can enjoy it. It's just figuring out the tones, especially when you're doing the mixing. We have a process where Adam and I will get together first, and we'll actually play the parts, and then we just kind of go through it to see what vibes. Once we figure out what vibes, then we kind of go, okay, cool, that sticks. Let's try that. And then once we have the skeleton down, then we go into the studio and we lay down our parts.
Now, are you sharing? And I guess you really have to. In low-end frequencies, there is a defined range. When you play melodically, you can get up there in that range. But are you guys segmenting based on like I'll play,
Well, it depends. So when we did changes, the way we kind of did it is Anthony was the left hand of the piano and I was the right hand of the piano. And that worked well. We just try and find like kind of a balance with some of this stuff. Like if we're both in the lower register, we recognize that'll get muddy. So it's like, okay, one of us needs to shift the position and see if we can bring it out. The other thing is there's a difference in our sound. Like you can tell who's playing what just by our style and the way we play and a little bit with the instrument. But you can tell who's playing between us because it's not the exact same, tones and style. So there's a difference and it helps.
Yep.
Do you bring different instruments? Like when you know that you guys are playing with each other as opposed to just a regular gig, would you bring or select a different type of bass that is maybe more suitable and flexible for playing with another bass player as opposed to if you were just playing?
It all applies to the song. For
Yeah.
example, holding the six string. So this was in Horse with No Name. This was a lot of the melody.
Okay.
Yeah, it was a lot of the melody. Also, I have my Music Man, which I had for a lot of the pop and snaps for the lower registers, and then Adam would do a lot of the tapping on the higher registers on his Fender Jazz bass.
Okay.
So that was able to complement each other.
So
And,
I use, say I used a Franken Jazz for that. Then I have this funky thing called a wish bass. It's this fretless bass that just, I don't know, looks like it was poured out of a tree. It's amazing, but some fretless stuff on that, but very little just texture and things like that.
That's
true.
we
have between the two of us, we have enough diversity as far as instruments, but I mean, it really just comes down to the way we play that you can differentiate the sound.
Absolutely.
And so from the listener's perspective, you're trying to create a different experience, right? So you're taking a different take on the song, and it's like, well, what if this song had more bottom or had a different melodic configuration? What do you want the listener to get out of it?
I want them to dance, number one, and I want them to enjoy the melody.
Yeah.
I want them to enjoy the song as a whole, the composition, because you can't just think in terms of bass.
Right.
You have to think in terms of the overall composition of the song. You just can't think, oh, well, I want them to hear, which would be nice if we can do that. But you got to basically make a song. When you're putting together a band, you still need to put together a song. So, and it all varies. It's like we're working on Come On, Come Over. That's one of our songs that we're working on now in the studio. We're actually still working that out. So Adam took on more of the responsibilities of the taco. Now the part that gets difficult. The
horns, yeah.
Yeah, so that's more and you have a lot of the horn parts, and you have this Rocco Pastia walking bass line, which can tire out your hands pretty quickly if you don't practice that.
Yeah.
I do more. I like the idea of doing more like like almost like a wah wah with a guitar. I like the fact that I'm picking up more in that feel, and we find that when we play it in conjunction with our drummer, we love the combination of how it feels, and that can be
it's kind of like. It's kind of like the way I kind of look at it is the tools that we use happen to be the bass. We both play the bass, but when they listen to it, that shouldn't even be, that happens to be two basses, but it's what the product is. It's what the song sounds like, regardless if it's 15 basses or two basses or one bass. As long as the song itself, they're digging it and dancing and moving, that's the most important part is how the end product comes out. We have our tools. This is what we use. And what comes out at the end is what we want people to enjoy, regardless of what we used.
Okay. Yep. And it sounds like the type of music is a more active music. And like you say, if you want people to dance and you want people to really feel the rhythm intentionally, there are things that you're going to do. And, like in those songs, in a dance song, the drums are going to be sort of the heartbeat and the pulse, and the bass is going to really carry the load, playing the rhythm part, the rhythmic part of it. And so as that's happening, is it twice as dynamic now? What do you think?
I don't know, Adam.
Or 1.5 times as dynamic?
I mean, it's not. I don't know if it's more dynamic. It's still basically like drums and bass. It's just that rhythm, that groove is the main thing. Just Anthony could be grooving and could be doing a melody, or I'll be grooving and he'll be doing a melody.
Right.
More dynamic, I guess, maybe. but I never really like thought about it that way. It's just let's just get to the end point and let's get the groove down, let's get the rhythm, let's get the butts moving, and then we'll throw in the fairy dust and make and get all the cool little sounds and harmonies in there.
Yep. So actually, our engineer, I want to comment on one thing. Our engineer, we bought a house, he thought that we were nuts since we had all these. He's like, man, you have all these bass tones, but when he was done doing the edit, done doing the mix, he was like, it actually sounds really good.
Yeah, it kind of works.
Surprised. So now you're at the stage. You put out a couple of records. I've seen your videos. Very good. You're being well received conceptually. And now you guys are now doing this special project where you're raising money to do a full album.
Yes.
Of these songs, original compositions. Well, are they original compositions or some covers of tunes?
It'll be both. There'll be some original compositions on there, and there'll be some other covers and fun covers. Not like, we're just trying to do something little different, I guess. Okay. Just finding some songs that just be fun to do, and then we'll have the original compositions on there as well.
Absolutely. Actually, I had this conversation with a friend of mine. We were talking about what era where the music sounded the best as far as production goes, and we were like the 70s, hands down.
Okay. Oh yeah,
70s, hands down. And that's why a lot of our songs that we're doing reimagined versions of come from that era, because production is incredible. Like, think about Quincy Jones and think about even like your one-hit wonders from the 70s still sounded good. Think about the Motown stuff. Think about Quincy Jones and Michael Jackson's album that came out in '79. All the disco stuff sounded incredible. They used real strings, and that for me was really incredible. You don't get a lot of that now. And actually, Rudy Sarzo was the guy that when we played. I interviewed him for my bass podcast, and he heard changes because he was a member of Ozzy Osbourne's band. And he says, I love the fact that you're bringing back the analog. And that's how the title became Analog.
Yes.
And we have a violin player, by the way. We're not just all bass, but we have violins. We use a glockenspiel in one of our new songs. And we, so we had shout out to Forrest Layton, our drummer, for coming in and stepping up and learning how to use the glockenspiel. It's just a whole different value system and how to deal with that. So this is what we're doing at this point. So we're just using the opportunity to come up with new stuff, play around with things and see what happens.
How collaborative would you say the process is? Again, when you have multiple people on different instruments, on the same instrument, it can be tricky. How has it been collaborating in the tunes that you're currently doing, and what do you foresee as because it's pressureful to do an album, and and it takes a lot of intentionality, research, and camaraderie to pull this off. What do you guys see as the main thing that you want to accomplish in this album? With this music and with this unique take on music, I know it's early in the game, but it's kind of interesting to see what you guys envision and then what comes out the other end. So, at least initially, what do you want to accomplish?
What's funny? We don't really clash in the studio. I'll bring a song idea. He'll bring the song idea. We'll go through the parts. I don't ever look at it and go, something, this sucks, I don't want to do it. Years ago, when there was 2-inch tape, you might not want to experiment as much. Back then, when you had 2-inch tape, and 2-inch tape cost $125, you didn't experiment as much. You wanted to get your pre-production as tight as possible before you walked into the studio. Now we get together first. I throw a couple of ideas at him. Adam throws them right back. Hey man, why don't you try this? That sounds cool, kind of cool. And he says, hey, why don't you do this? And we just kind of build from there. There's not really any, this is my way. First of all, I wouldn't want, it's the reason why I like having collaboratives. I like it when the collaborative is where there's no such thing as equal, as we all know, but at the end of the day, it's close to it. Adam has an idea. I like it. If it wasn't for Adam bringing in changes, we never would have got that. Hate to say it, Ozzy's death, of course, sped up the timing on producing that song.
Yeah,
But that wasn't what we suggested it at first. We were planning on doing it much later, but we ended up doing it that much faster because producing the video and actually doing the song, because Adam brought it in. I wasn't gonna crap on it and go, well, it's too slow. It's like, you know something? I like Sabbath. Why not give it a shot? You know, it doesn't hurt you. It doesn't hurt you to experiment. You can always cancel it. If you don't like it, don't use it.
Yeah. My take basically is just that, like, he and I are old school. Like, we're players. We like the writing process for me, like, was always get into a studio with the drummer and the other musicians and just play and see what happens. So that's kind of how, you know, we sort of do it. Like, he'll just throw an idea out. It's like, okay, we'll noodle around with it, and if it works, like, great. If not, like, oh, maybe shift it here, do that. So it's just very, you know, it's there's no like harsh critiquing. It's just suggestions and experimentation, and it's fun. It doesn't become like, oh God, here we go. What's he gonna say about this? It's just like, oh, let's just see what happens. You know.
That's so
you know, that's the thing. Like, he knows how I play. I know how he plays. Like, we do, you know, I'll throw like a weird riff out there or something bizarre, and he'll come up with this freaking weird, this slapping, strumming thing. I'm just like, okay, I think I got something for that, and vice versa. So it's more fun that way.
It is. Actually.
Any spoilers? Like, do you know, like, hey, we definitely want to cover this. We definitely, like, this is something that is a must-have in this project, or or is it just totally open right now?
We have some ideas, but like, they're not, like, we know what our next few might be, but, you know, then all of a sudden, man, he's like, hey, I got an idea. I'm like, oh God, okay, what's this going to be? Then he's like, I'm like, ooh, that could be really cool. So, you know, we have the ones that we had set at first, and now it's like, okay, now we need to look back on those and, you know, reevaluate the ideas that he came up with, because I'm like, ooh, those are gonna be a lot of fun to play. So now let's see what we're gonna do. You know, it's fun.
Yep.
You know, nothing's totally set in stone as far as what's gonna be after the next one that we're doing, as far as cover wise. But, you know, and the originals are just gonna evolve as we keep playing them and throwing ideas back and forth.
Yep. No, this is an old style professionally produced projects. Like, you're going in the studio. It's not like a guy in a home studio with his computer. You guys are producing this analog, you know, going through the process. And I think that while it adds to the expense, it does give a level of quality and give a level of sound that digital is wonderful. But I think what you guys are trying to achieve will sound better because of the techniques that you guys are using.
Yeah, I agree. Also, by the way, we're at T-Next Sound. Shout outs to Dave Kowalski and Andrew, whatever his last name is. Cool guy, engineer. Everything goes in analog. Everything at first, before you actually enter the computer. Okay. They use Pro Tools, right? They use Pro Tools or Logic. Before it goes into Pro Tools, everything's entered in analog. The drums are analog. The bass plugins are all analog. Everything's analog at first. Once it hits the computer for all the mixing, then it becomes digital. But prior to that, they have an analog setup, and that for me that's been a big deal. The only thing they're missing is tape. You know, they don't have tape anymore. Dave will never use tape ever again.
No.
Nice. And so, one of the unique things about your funding, you're sort of crowdfunding this project, and as part of that, you guys you have all of these. I forget the terminology that you use, but it's sort of like gifts for
my groove offerings.
Groove offerings, that's what it was. Yes. Groove offerings for the people that sign on early. You know, not only are they going to get the eventual finished product, but then you have some other incentive kind of things to give people, to reward people for their early participation and loyalty. Tell me about that. Tell me what you're thinking about the offerings might be.
Groove offering 10, for example, is just a thank you and stickers. Groove offering 30 would be buttons and I think we lost Adam. So buttons and buttons and stickers. 50 goes into the actual download. I think a Groove offering 4, which is $50. That's actually the download, but the downloads don't come till later. The album, everything gets shipped out probably, I'd say, in August. You'll have the initial shippings, and then in November, when we finish the album, then they'll get the actual final stuff in that way. So, and then the higher, I won't go through all the details, but the higher one at the $5,000 Groove offering, that's like sneakers. You're getting the Follow Groove sneakers, Bass Universe sneakers. So I have a custom pair. They're all bases on the sneakers, and then you have the Bass Universe bomber jacket. There's also the opportunity to play with us in the studio if you actually have an instrument.
How much? So if I want like an album cover with me on it, how much would that be?
Oh, dude, you gotta be in the back of the album. You can't be in the front of the album.
Just ask him. Just put it out there. You know.
How much would that be? $30,000 if you put that in there.
I'm sure you can make it happen. I'm sure it could happen.
Everything can happen in that. Everything. There will be this icon of you like this.
Well, it's so funny. And as I was talking about in the beginning, to pull this off and to come up with a really original idea, number one, is pretty hard. Mm-hmm. And I think to come up, with people that you guys are all notable, well-respected, well-rounded musicians, and to come up with such an innovative project, which really could be groundbreaking, because from what I've heard, it is very innovative. The things that I've heard, I liked, and I think that you're probably going to have imitators. I mean, even though you maybe is not the exact first, I think you're maybe repopularizing something that has been done, and so there'll probably be imitators. So you're sort of on the forerunning, as a forerunner of this project.
Sure.
How are you? What's next? So you're gonna have this album. People can have all this great music. Are you gonna tour it?
I would love to do a tour, but I would like to do an album release party first. Big shouts to Rocket Music Center. They've been my home for a little while now. They're actually based in Nanuet, New York. Jonathan Goffin, there's Jonathan David's brother, and Sergio, the father. They've been in business for, I think, 40 years now, something like that. I think it might be 25 in that location. We want to do something called Inside Rocket Music, almost like NPR's 10 Disc Concert Series.
Okay. I like
locally, where we want to feature either established bands, whether they do covers, and just have them come on and feature them at the store. That's one thing we want to do. I'd say probably do a couple of gigs in the area first, just debuting the album, featuring the album. And as time goes on, I would want to take it somewhere else. Take it to Europe. That's ultimately where I want to bring it. Because I
know you like playing in Europe. You've toured Europe many times. And we only have just a couple of minutes left. But what is it that you like so much about European audiences, other than the fact that it's always fun to travel and play?
They're a lot more receptive to the music. Also, if you get in with the right promoter, a lot of times the concerts are government subsidized, so you don't have to worry about not getting paid. Secondly, you literally have an audience that loves what you do. You can actually be you can be a mediocre band, but if you're doing something super cool, people look and go, man, I love that band stuff. I loved your hat. And also, if you have if you present yourself very unique, they love your stuff. Europe, Japan in particular. I just like the fact that they're there and they really are. They don't sit in their cell phones as much. They're actually watching you perform. They're not, they're holding out the memory of your performance. I think just the European audience is a lot more appreciative. And the European audience is also interested in, if you play older stuff, they're open to, let's say we decided to do Boogie Nights in the middle of Horse with No Name. They'll go crazy over that. Just like, think about why Faith No More did Why Easy on a Sunday Morning. Who would ever think that a band of that caliber would do that? And then they eventually did, in the middle of Midlife Crisis, they eventually did Strawberry Letter 23. and you watch them play it in Europe, the audience goes crazy. They go crazy over that stuff. So it's just an open market in that sense, and that's one of the reasons why I enjoy playing that market.
Adam, are you ready for a European tour?
I've been ready. Yeah, no, that'd be looking forward to that part. That'd be a blast. You know,
oh my God, it would be super awesome.
Just playing in front of like a bunch of just a diverse audience, and you know, I'm looking forward to it. I think it'd be a lot of fun.
Well, this is an incredibly unique project. It certainly has piqued my interest, as I think it'll pique our audience's interest. And again, you guys are stellar musicians, and so I'm really looking forward to how this project evolves.
Yes.
How can people get more information?
Follow the group Brother Riff, followgroup.com. You can find us on social media. But for the fundraiser in particular, go to Indiegogo.com and look for Father Groove. Type in Father Groove Brother Riff, and we'll come up. So it's literally Indiegogo, INDIGOGO.com. And that's the best way to find a fundraiser. But the one thing I want to say before we end the show, part of my discovery when I had the heart failure was coming out and basically trying to promote to people over 50 that you can do whatever you want. I don't think in terms of your age limits you, especially now, because a lot of the young kids are going back to the older music, which is even funnier. You have a lot of young kids now, and when it sounds, even if it's new, it still sounds retro. It still has that old feel to it. So when these older guys think, "Oh no, I'm too old for that," I go, "No, you're not. No, you're not. You got to figure out how to bring in another angle. If you can do that, and you can go out there and make it. And I don't mean make it as in like become a Taylor Swift or a Jay-Z or any one of those people. If your bills are paid and you enjoy playing your music and you're coming home to your family and they love you, you're not a drunk beating people up, you're not causing any problems, I think that you're doing fine. I think that, you know, everyone has to realize there's a gauge, there's a level of what defines making it. Like if Adam and I can play a couple of cool gigs, travel, sell some merchandise, I'm happy. At the end of the day, I'm just happy playing, and I love the studio. I love the live thing. I love because, yeah, as you know, the digital thing with Suno and all that stuff. It's cool up to a point, but there's nothing feels better than being in the studio and producing material. Nothing feels better than coming together and going, "Cool, we have an idea." It's like flowering. It's like flowering that, you know, that seed, and then literally watching the whole thing bloom. That's you can't get that from digital.
True.
Yeah.
It's a magical process.
Yes.
Yep. Just want to spread the magic, so to speak. Just so I just want people to enjoy what we're doing. Like we know we think people really dig it. And that's like the main thing. Just share it with as many people that are willing to listen.
Yep.
And hoping that they enjoy it.
And you gave the one more time. Give the Indiegogo a sort of address for this project.
Sure. Indiegogo.com, INDIGOGO.com. Search for Father Groove Brother Riff, and you'll find us. And otherwise, if you're interested in some of the group offerings that are not on there, but they're in my store, fathergroovegear.store. You'll find a lot of cool stuff. I'm very big into creating music relatable type of clothing items. I like stuff like that. I make up all kinds of cool stuff in that way.
Well, there we have it. We got Father Groove and Brother Riff putting the bass in your face with a new album and a new project. And I wish you guys so much luck and success. And I can't wait to hear it. And will you come back on and I'll interview you as the process evolves?
Sure. Absolutely.
Awesome. And Randall, thank you very much for doing this. I know this was a last second thing you kind of brought on.
Thank you so much.
No worries. You know, again, drums and bass are always simpatico, so we look out for one another.
Next time I won't
we almost didn't bring the drummer in. We almost were like, we kind of need one. So let's. Hey, Forrest, are you available tomorrow? Come on.
Well, hey guys, thank you very much, and that does it for this segment of the Tuesday Afternoon Radio Show. Well, your host Randall Martin. So glad you can join us, and we will see you next time. Thanks for listening.
Stay groovy.
Bye, everybody.
Thanks.